So then afterwards, this officer, was just there with a few construction worker, which saw the other construction worker, supposedly from a bit of dust in the back, and he started laughing. He's like, "I'm on my break. Just come back when I'm done." No, he said, "Oh, I'm on my break in a bit. Just come back when I'm done." I was like, "Okay." And then I just walked away with my bike, right? And like a few scratches, um, and obviously spit all over my face because this person spat on my face. Very nice driver. Anyway, so then when I was there, it was really hard to like take. I just walked away, and then I gotta be cool with that, right? Um, and I've had also like, and the thing is that all these incidents happen like so often, and it's sad. I mean, so often it's not like I see an incident every day where it's like catastrophic, and I'm grateful for that. I'm really happy that people, there's some drivers that are really like, oh, there's a cyclist, please leave him some space. And then when I hear that, or when I see that in their behavior, and you can feel people's energy. I mean, when I'm on the road, and then all of a sudden I just get someone that just pushes on the gas, tries to speed in between the lanes, and I'm on that parked car lane, which is just enough for a cyclist, but they try to squeeze in between cars, and they do this little rodeo thing. And so they expect me to stop and go in between another parked car when I'm already going 30K an hour, right? Easy. If I'm going on an easy day, windy day, 20K an hour, and I'm just gonna be. And so I've had this guy happen, and he's like driving, wow, and then back in the days, I used to, because this happened so many times, right? I've been riding my bike since I'm a kid. I actually started riding my bike when I was 5 years old. I've been riding my bike with my father, which is a lovely man. Um, and he basically taught me how to ride a bike. Like, I was just a little kid. He pretended he was behind me, and then he let me go, and it was the nicest moment ever. I felt freedom. I felt like I was able to move with two wheels. That's all it took, and then I was just able to move forward, and I was just like so happy. I was, it feels great to be able to uh, to, to find balance in a challenge, and then he wasn't behind me, and it just kept going right at this time, and I was like, oh, and then I'm talking like, daddy, 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 that's it, you can let me go, I think I got it. And then I look back, and he's like 200 meters behind me, and it was the most magical moment ever. And then I stopped, which was a little like tough at that point. But it was an open space. It was a park. There was no cars, thankfully, there. And I'm from Paris, right? And in Paris, honestly, Paris is actually quite a jungle. Actually, people swerve in and out. It's not like Toronto. Toronto, people stay in their lane, which is very, very good. And so they have like a certain amount of respect for everybody's lanes, except for cyclists in times. I've had I calculated at one point how many times I could record like people doing faults on the road. So I've had people slamming doors at me. I've had people turn without signaling and block my way in between a parked car and a turning car. So I would be slammed in between two cars. So I would be like coming, and then like to the side of the cars here, and then all of a sudden this car just blocks me, bam, and then just no, like, this is about like a minute, not a minute, I mean like a meter or two reflex. You know what I mean? And then I had to not scratch their car, because then I could get assaulted by some of these big tough guys that work out every freaking day. and then just like to beat up cyclists for apparent reasons that they're stronger and they have more money and they can do that and they have a better job, and they work sometimes for very high paid jobs that everybody wants to have, and there's a lot of competitions. They're high on anything that I don't want to know about, and they're living their life that way, and that's good for them. And I know some bodybuilders that are also really really nice, and and that don't have to act aggressively either, right? So I mean, I've met have a friend, and now he's doing Hollywood gigs, and he's there you go, he's behind the screen, so there's bodybuilders that can be really really nice. That's my point, and there's no reason to get so aggravated. So that's it. And then there's also this the stigma. They're saying they should go back on the curbs. I've actually been to Japan, and in Japan, they do have cyclists are allowed to go pretty much on the road and on the curbs, and they have like designated spots for them. So they have pathways pretty much everywhere, so they can go from like one end of the city to the other. In Toronto, they're building some parts on it. Tory actually just shut down the Yonge Street project. He believed that it was not a necessity for the city, even though some of the parts of the ministry were insisting on it and saying that this is something that is not a question. This is mostly an obligation. But there's a lot of the people that work in these environments obviously drive cars. I've personally drove a car when I had my G1 with people that were with me, in the countrysides and elsewhere, and in parking lots and different places. And I've also, been able to drive quite a lot. And even with my driver instructor, I drove through different places, even downtown. And I mean, I've got a feel for it, and I loved it. And I just think that, and he was saying like, you're a really really good driver. Like I'm surprised, and then I didn't really tell him because I wanted to get a feel for the character. Anyways, that's another story. But he hated cyclists too, and he told me if there's a cyclist, make sure to cut him off. Now this is the person that teaches people how to drive in Toronto, right? I'm not gonna say the name, and hopefully he's good, but he changes his mind on saying these things to new drivers because this is unacceptable. And so I was so upset. Anyway, I was so frustrated and more than upset with this person too, because it's just like I've seen people, and I myself been hospitalized for about I've been hospitalized for a whole 24 hours. My nose is different now. I got smashed in the middle of the road because I was cycling, and then I used to have a nice Italian nose, because a part of my family is half Argentinian, French, Sicilian. So I had nice features on my face, and then bam, smashed. Disfigured for life. The person never caught. There was about 10 witnesses. There was cars honking at me while I was like losing my consciousness because my bones were so cracked. They say that it was like so close to my brain that I was that lucky that I didn't have physical brain damage of my bones shattering my skull. So this is basically so this is basically what happened, right? So and it's when I see these images in my mind, I just think it's really tough to just be passive aggressive, and I've been in situations where people literally like open the door and they're like, that's a cyclist, he'll go around, and then there's cars that they open the door, and then that's the space that I had. The lane is right here, that's the lane for the other cars, and then they open the door, and I was just coming, like I was like like 20 meters away, they look at me, they open the door, and then I'm just there. Like by that time, I'm already there, and then they basically I pull on the brakes really hard, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Like what am I supposed to do? And then because there's cars that are passing on the side, and I'm like, yeah, like I've seen people get run over since I was a kid, and it is not fun, So yeah, I've seen a motorcycle, like a guy, run over. Anyway, this terrible thing that happened, but a woman. Hopefully, she's doing great. It's been a long time, anyways. So, and that's the thing, right? So, and I hope that people that also commute, because they're also worried about the money, and I mean everybody's worried about the money. I mean, we live in Toronto. It's getting more expensive. My rent's been raised by hundreds of dollars within just a few years, right? Like a few couple of years, and it's just like, oh my god, like really, like, and that's just that's just the city we live in, and they don't really protect people that already rent. They don't prioritize people that are already there. It's just complicated, right? So we all have to work hard. I understand that there's people with mortgages. There's a lot of different stuff out there. People that have high insurance. They have to work. People that have to work and drive a car, 100% go work, go to make money. These are the things that you need to do. It's the necessities of life nowadays. People say you don't need money. Well, you need money to eat. You need money for rent, foods. Blah blah blah. And then afterwards is how much money do you need, really? Uh, and that's the thing, right? But then there's people that commute, and they will never share nothing. I've been in blizzards, and I've been literally like in so much pain because there was no more buses. I've been stranded once in Mississauga, and I've been in such traumatic situation, and that I was getting frostbites on my fingers and my toes and on my face, right? And I couldn't move. My facial expression was just stiff, like all this was just like and then so I was giving the thumbs up. Maybe somebody would pick me up. Out of thousands of cars, nobody picked me up. They would drive off, looked at me like I was a bum. I was well dressed, actually, because I was on a date, anyways, and then that was the attitude. So I've been to these situations where I see people. They're one person in a car, and it's like, okay, well, you could share with a neighbor. You could go downtown together. Unless if you have to pick up somebody after work, maybe you can make arrangements with another coworker. There is ways to share in the community. We don't have to be so individualistic. It's not like there's this person rushed me to the curb, another person, and then he gives me the trigger finger, and he like just puts he goes, and then he just pushes on his gas and then just drives off with an SUV, right? And then wow, like amazed, the guy looked like a doctor, like, anyways, and then it's just breathtaking, right? And I've seen people, like, once I've seen like roads that are so bad. Like, I've been on this road over by O'Connor, on the bridge there, and there's potholes that are this big, but they're also like so deep that you literally have to go outside of the bike lane, and you have to get onto oncoming traffic of cars that believe that this road is a highway, so they drive 100 kilometers per hour. So you end up with these like winds, and then and you literally feel like that every freaking second, like like it's so intense, right? And you're just like, and you're trying to keep your cool, right? Because you got to keep your cool. You got to get through this. You got to get home, right? And then this person, just sees you from a distance, and then just doesn't care, more or less. So there's been a lot of things like this, and I feel like we could bring, instead of comparing ourselves like from cars to bicycles, maybe we can evolve, and maybe one day cyclists are not just, oh, I hate cyclists because they do this and do that. Because how can you compare a human life to a machine? How can you compare money to a human life? And that is the question. And I think that is really how people are saying, oh yeah, but this and that. Yeah, but really, and I think it's pretty sad, when I think about what I've seen, what I've heard, and friends of friends that passed away, just like, or by Victoria Park in Eglinton, this person got smashed, and like, really, is that it? Is that what we're doing? So that's all I have to say. We could just care for one another, okay? Because that's how we're gonna grow better. We're gonna become better people, right? We have to just take care of each other instead of trying to kill one another. Like, is that the big idea here? And I can't run you over because I'm a cyclist, no, but you can, and you like to use that as a power bullying tool, And a lot of my companions, the close to the 5 million people that ride their bicycle once a year, and you out there, if you think that it's fun to do that to people, then think twice, okay? Because it is not about a question of this and that. It's a question of, okay, this is a life, driving, it's a privilege. It is not a right, it's a privilege. You have the right to it, to do it. It doesn't mean you have the right to endanger people's life. And, you're not in danger. If I crash into you, you're in a car, you're not in danger. Your windshield will take the impact. You are not in danger. In the worst case scenario. Because most of the time it's just the hood, the side, right? The light, whatever. You are not in danger. My life is, and if you don't realize that it's a human life, then maybe wake up. Maybe wake up one day and just realize how grateful you are for your life. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Stay tuned for more videos. Maybe we can make this world a better place one day, okay? Because there's more people and we have less space, so we gotta share, okay? So we don't make it congested, okay?